should have done that. I should have invested in this. I should have made the relationship work. I shouldn't have got a divorce. We sit around and talk about all of our shoulds. We talk about all the things we wanted to do, but never got it done. That's the nightmare. That's the nightmare that we all must avoid. This is the time to establish your dream. All of the pain, all of the trauma, everything you have experienced, the turbulence, you have to garner up all of that hunger. I'm talking about, you gotta think of everything you've ever wanted in your life, and you gotta put it toward that goal. And there are things that you have been called to do that no one on earth has ever done.
They said I'd never get to this point. But here I stand. They warned that success is unlikely, that victory is improbable, and maybe so. But if this was for everyone, I wouldn't want it. They pointed to their own limitations and proclaimed them to be mine. But that's the thing about limits. They'll exist wherever you place them, and I have placed mine behind me. See, human beings make things unnecessarily complicated. Instead of drawing a direct line from point A to point B, we create 100 reasons why it's too hard, too tough. We construct distractions. There is no hard, there is no easy. There is a goal, the price that must be paid, and the eyes observing from a distance. Wonder.
All right, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you? All right. There's a lot we're going to cover tonight. So break out your pens, your pad of paper, everything you can write on. I don't care if it's a whiteboard, piece of paper, cardboard box, whatever you want to write on. What I want to let you know tonight is going to be really different tonight because I'm going to give some stuff away for all the end of the year. All right. If you haven't incorporated, if you haven't done an S corporation yet, not S, excuse me, forget S. Slap my mouth for saying S. All right. Your C corporation or your LLC, limited liability corporation. If you need to do this before the 31st or do it by the 31st, if it can happen for you, some states will do it right away. As long as you start it early in the morning, like around 7 or 8 o'clock, you'll have it by probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So one of the things we want to go ahead and let you know, if you do it, now you'll be considered as being in business for 1 year right into the next year. So next year you can say you've been in business for 1 year. Now, one thing I want to let you know is this. You can do your tax ID online. You can do your Dun & Brad online. You can get your 800 number online. You can get your tax. You can get your stock kit online. So you can get everything online. And on top of that, you can still also apply for banking online as well. Because you'll have your articles. You'll have your tax ID number. You'll have your 800 number. Oh yeah, go to Dun & Brad and get your .com. I mean, today we did one today for someone, and we got the, let me pull this out here. All right, we got one here, the 800 number for $4 a month. Excuse me, $4.95 a month. And then we did their domain and their information. We got that done today for them, and that was $30 for the year, which is $1 something a month or something like that. So $30 for the year, and then let's see what else they get. They got their corporate stock kit for $49.99. All right, and then they did their filing. Filing was done online. That was done today. Got that done out of the way. And let's see what else was there. Tax ID was done. Dun & Brad was done. So all that can be done in a matter of moments. Once you actually do it, it's not that hard. I mean, it's really easy to get it done. Now, here's one of the things you want to begin to understand. Now, when you do these things, one thing we did, this reason why we're doing this today, all the Well, now there's certain students that we have that participate in certain areas, and then we also have the other students that participate on a randomly action because they're just randomly doing what they're doing, which is fine. That happens in every case. And there's some people that also are building their business credit, and they're building it as fast as they want or as slow as they want. So it's up to them. Now we have some students that we have 12, 13 of them now that are building their business credit. Now there's some belong to a different particular group, which is a different level. Like going to college, you have your freshmen, you got your you go each. You got 4 years to go to college. You have four quarters. Then you have you're going to go for your master's. You're going to go for your bachelor's. You're going to go for your doctorate, whatever it is. Here's one of the things. That's how we work the system, because as you grow and move more, you begin to learn about how you actually make money with what you're doing. So one thing I want to begin to let you understand, that a lot of the students actually all of them now set up 4 corporations because they're going to be moving some things around to go ahead and have all those companies have their business credit on there. And on top of that, within 90 days, they'll have an excellent record reporting to that. On top of that, they'll have the other companies they already have supporting these 2 companies by giving them the credit so they can go ahead and have the score. So now they're going to end up with more business credit. And on top of that, so some of them, they already have like $1 million to up to $7 million worth of business credit lines, cash lines, credit cards, not vendor credit. That doesn't count in the numbers, but the vendor credit and the business credit counts for something else, because you always want vendor credit, because you want to use vendors and then business credit without using all your cash if you don't have to. You can carry it for a little bit because you're going to use it and make money from it, what you're doing. Like, for instance, some people have a 30 or 60-day net with builders, and they have certain things that they go ahead and deal with. So one thing I want to make you aware of is what's really important is, on top of that, is that you'll have many things that you can do with your business. Now, one thing I want to make you aware of is that what's exciting about this, a lot of people don't quite really understand. For instance, there's one guy out there that brags he has 1.5 million in business credit. Well, what's so nice about it is that if he was my student, he would have 5 corporations already with each one of them at least $1.5 million or 1.2 million. That would give him 5 million, not counting what his divisions could have. I mean, it's insane that a lot of people do not teach the structure and the strategies that all the big corporations use. It's not secret, it's nothing crazy, but it's actually learning the structure. And that's one of the important things about that. Also, another thing to make you aware is that what we're looking to do here is, you know what? I've just got a notice here saying, hey, where are you at? All right, cool. Let me go ahead and share this there we go. Okay, we got that now in the Zoom. Someone sent me a notice saying the Zoom wasn't on. Okay, but now it is. All right, cool. So one of the things you want to begin to remember is that there's many applications you can do these things. And the best thing about it is this. We teach you the structures how to do this effectively. So one thing about this is that also another thing, the group is going to go ahead and parlay with each other. In other words, they're going to go ahead, some cards they have, they'll move to their divisions. See, a lot of people don't understand you can move cards around to other divisions, to other corporations. It doesn't really matter, and get them a card, they get you a card. However that works, all right? One of the things is that you've got to begin to learn the structure. A lot of people don't have even the, I don't know, some people, I don't know. They want everything, but they're unwilling to go ahead and do things that need to be done. Like, for instance, if you have a challenge in some areas about getting certain credit cards, one of the best things to do is use your information with another business so you can get the credit card from another business that has nothing to do with the state that you're in, and then you get it from that state, and then once you get it, that one gets it, then that one gives the card over to your business, and then from there it disassociates itself. But a lot of people aren't willing to do what they need to do to have it happen. Here's the thing: if you want money, you've got to learn the structure how to do it, and sometimes you have to go off your reservation into another reservation so you can get what you want, and then move it to the reservation that you're looking for. Because then once you do that, you still accomplish everything. And then here's one thing. I can tell you one thing about I don't want to say the card because I don't want to go ahead and have a lot of people go all of a sudden start bombarding them. So there's a particular card that the Mormons are the foundation of. That's all I'm going to say. Now, one thing about it is that once you get a card over here, let's say Corporation A gets one of those cards and Corporation B gets one of those cards. Well, Corporation A can also get Corporation B that same card even though you have it. And then Corporation B can get the same thing for Corporation A and give them the card even though they have the same card, but it will be two distinct different accounts. Think about that for a moment. Really think about that. It's pretty awesome that you can do that. And then that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to go off the reservation to get what you want. And once you go off the reservation to get what you want, then you move one over here. And there's, put it this way. You can have 5 different companies give you the same card, but they'll be all different because of the fact how they're done. And then after that, you can merge them together, and that's even awesome. All right, let's move on. Let's keep going. Just a little bit for tidbit for right now. Let's keep on moving. Let's go. All right. So the next thing I want to begin to let you know is this. Business credit can be used for purchasing equipment, advertising, inventory, real estate, and so much more. Right now, we have 9 of our group members on a particular course that we're doing. Right now in advertising. In advertising, they have over $1 million in advertising. Now that's business credit, not trade, but business credit. They have over $1 million, all of them in, okay, million one, somewhere like barely over $1 million. But the thing is that they're $1 million in advertising. What are they going to do with it? But they've got it. See, I'm showing them what to do with it. And also they can actually go back in and back it down. Or they can go to the advertising agency and say, I want to split it between my divisions. They can do that too. See, if you don't have advertising, business advertising, or any business structure, and this is some are 60, 30, 90-day nets, all depending. What does it depend on? Well, it also depends on what your services are. All depends what your services are. Now, also equipment. Most people have certain equipment that are done out there for rental equipment, and they have that as well. Now, another thing is this, real estate. What's real estate? Making your best bet besides doing personal loans and lending out is real estate. Because real estate, you always know where your bread and butter is, which means you always know where your original investment is. You know where your principal is for sure. The only thing now you always want every month, you want that interest with the principal if you can. If not, you take the interest every month and just let the principal go, and then there's just many things you could do. But then on top of that, by you taking the interest, that's really awesome. In fact, there's a way to take all the interest up front for tax purposes and write it off so you don't have to pay any more on the taxes. And we have a real tax guy that really does that. It's pretty awesome how they really do that. So anyways, and there's so much more with this. This is right here, the purpose of you building your business credit, your trade credit, your credit lines, your business loans. Business loans are a little different animal. You want to receive those and then pay them back right away, and because they're horrendous. And eventually, and also, a lot of you right now don't realize you don't have to go into a bank like credit union. You don't have to go in there to go ahead and get a loan from them. You don't have to even produce any tax returns. Folks, I'm telling you, a lot of you are missing out because of what you're afraid of, or you say you don't know what to do. Again, also in the group, we have all but one. The rest of them all signed the power of attorney to our team, so we're able to do things for them that they during the day, or they get busy. Or some taking off, some going trips. They can use we're on the trips, and we just notify them. We've done this one and that. But the power of attorney allows us to go to the bank, do all the stuff for you, so that you don't have to go ahead and do it. So at the end of the day, when you get home, here's what's done, and you're like, wow, okay, cool. See, that's one thing that you don't understand. And then also, when I say, here's the beautiful thing about this, there's certain ways also, and you say, what does it cost? I'm going to tell you, it doesn't cost you anything except, and that's why you have to call us. And it is, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't cost you any money but there is something that we ask of you because of the fact, since it slows us down in some of our areas, we ask you a few things as well, and that's about it. Nothing more, nothing less. But it does not, we don't charge you 10% of what you get. We don't do any of that. There's something that's more, that's actually more efficient for everybody all around, and everybody wins. All right. Now, so remember this. The next thing is this. Why divisions? Why divisions? Why divisions? Divisions are one of the most powerful forms that you can use in your business because it's an SS form. Sometimes when I say SS form, I just hear Germany all over again, you know. I mean, I wasn't there, but you read the history of the SS, you know. So now they have SS form. But at least the SS form is a very powerful form once you know how to use it. Now, also you can go ahead and use it to receive your tax ID number. And one thing about it is that there's a way to do it so a tax ID can get a tax ID. Now they make it a little more challenging since that COVID came into place. They use that to go ahead and kind of back the way out of it, because before you were able to do it online. Now you can't. You have to call it in because you're only allowed to, it's just kind of like this. You can replace it, but there's a way to replace the tax ID with a tax ID when you actually are have to do it not online, but you have to fill out the form, send it in, fax it in, or you can call it in. So there's many ways to do it. Call it in, you're going to wait a little bit. So there's a lot of ways to go ahead and do it. And folks, you still got to understand one thing about this. The SS form is more powerful, and why divisions? Why divisions? Why divisions? All right. Now, one of the next things I want to make you aware of is this. As you can tell, we're work from home still right now. Pretty soon I'll be in the office, probably in February, so you won't hear the Mr. Pablo be barking away like a crazy dog. All right, so now, we're only given what? One Social Security. One. Only one Social Security number. Only one chance to win. What I mean by one chance to win, yes, you can fix it up. I'm not saying you can't. What I'm saying is that when you kind of get stained, it's going to take a little bit to fix. Now, some of you probably know how to fix it, but it is going to cost you to fix it by going to someone to fix it. Now, you're going to probably need anywhere between, I don't know, maybe from $200, $300, $400, $500 to go ahead and get things removed. Okay? And that's one thing about it. I mean, especially someone wanted to charge me some outrageous number to remove all my inquiries that I have on my Experian, my Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, to remove all those. So, and a lot of one of that big guru out of, I think, Florida, they can't even do it all in one shot like they said, because and I have quite a few on Experian, and TransUnion I have quite a few. Experian's not that many, but on TransUnion, but they say they couldn't do it, and I just called them out. I said, wow, you know, I was going to say something tonight about it to them, but now, so they wanted an arm and 2 legs, all right, and my toes off my feet. But they said, oh, we can do it overnight, but we can have that many. So it goes to show you. So I challenge him, if you know who I'm talking about, next week I'm going to blast out who you are, because I can, because you said you can do anything. Now you say you can't. Don't do that to people. You don't say stuff that isn't true. All right. Unless you say, except for there's so many, and la, 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 la. All right. Now, with that said, let's move on. But you only have one chance to win with the Social Security. In other words, once you mess it up, you're going to spend time. You're held back. You're held back because once you have to wait to get it all cleaned up. So now, another thing is that you have the SS4 gives you more chances to try and win, which means you mess up one, you have another. If you mess up one, you have another. You mess up in one, you have another. How many tax IDs can you have? Not you personally, but how many tax IDs can the business have? As many as it needs to go ahead and accomplish what it's up to and where it's going to go. So one thing about that is I want to really make you aware of is that there's many, many things that make a difference inside of all the areas that you are doing. So with that said, I just want to go ahead and say real quick that since this is live, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go grab something so I can show you something. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you in a minute is some things. But now what I'll let you know is this. As we begin to move forward, you're going to find out why it's important not only to know how to fix your personal credit. Yes, get every inquiries off this year. Because next year I tell you there's some things coming down the pike and you want to get it off ASAP. All right? So now, the next thing after that I want to let you know is here's the reason why you have a chance to win. Because you have a line of defense. You have, now I only use 3. I would probably freak you out if I think I showed before I had a total of 9 across and 1 up. And then each one of them has an American Express card. And let's say each one is only $100,000. Isn't that $1 million? Let me ask you, if you have 100 million, if you have 100 million, if you have $1 million, I just gave away some information. Only my other crew knows what I'm talking about. If you had $1 million in credit and someone next to you has $1 million in cash, could you not all buy the same thing? Now, and if you're investing the money right, the $1 million by having some, return on your money, interest rate, 18%, 12%, on 36%, stuff like that. All right. If you have that kind of return, you got that going. Let's say now you have some real estate going, maybe you have, anywhere between, the money from 8, 12, 18%, depending on how rough it is on the house and so on. You know where your money is. You know that the fact that your money is in the house, your principal. Now every month you're making your interest and the principal as well. And since you're the bank, your bank can do anything they want to do. Say people run into a problem. You know what? Because the interest rate is your payment. That's what you want. You want your income money. You don't want the principal. You want to leave the principal there if you know where it is. All right? And let me tell you why. Because hypothetically, if you had to foreclose and you've had it for 3 or 4 years, the house, there's a lot of you probably almost made at least 25 to 40, maybe the way Mark was going, 50% of what your principal already is, how the house increased, depending on the area. Even if you made 25% more on your money, or the price, how the house goes up by 25%. Say a $100,000 house goes up to $25,000. You made $25,000 more on your money. See, that's what most people don't think about. They worry about, are they going to pay me? You don't think about your rate of return on, wait a minute, what's going to happen if this happens? Oh, I get to take it back. So you spend $5,000 on a foreclosure attorney. Oh, I'm so sorry. In the worst case scenario, you can take it all the way to the sale if you want, and then let someone buy it. If you're happy, you can set the bid price. You set the bid price and say, you know what? I'm going to set the bid price at $125. Some people think it's a fair value. They go 125, 130, 140. Well, so the house bids for 140, you get your 125. Everybody's happy. All I'm saying is that you want to begin to understand is that all the debt owed on the house gets paid back to you. And anything else, you cannot get anything that's over the debt on the property itself. You get to collect the fees, what they paid for the attorney fees, other fees that get paid. And on top of that, here's what I'm saying. If a person get in the jam, man, I would go ahead right away and say, you know what? Don't worry about it. Why don't you just make the interest payment? Just make the interest payment. Don't worry about the principal payment. We'll take it back. In fact, I'll have to give my hats off to New American Funding. New American Funding. They have a nice program for some people out there that are in trouble and they want to go ahead and save them. All they have to do it's a different type of modification. What could you imagine if they said, okay, you know what? You just keep making your current payment, and we're going to put everything else in the back with no interest. Whatever you owe, it's no interest. And if it goes 10 years, there's no interest on the second. It gets paid off when you refinance or sell the house. But there's no interest, so it doesn't take anything really out of your pocket. So that's one of the things I have to give to them. They actually done a good program that way. That's what I'm saying. You know what? I'd rather have my principal know it's safe instead of letting them stop making a payment. Because when you train them not to make payment, then it's hard for them to make a payment. See, that's why you got to be smart about what you're doing. You know what? I'd rather have my income, the interest payment come in, because that's my income. My principal, I know where it is. I'll get that inside of that. And then there's just many ways you can do it. So now what you want to go ahead is begin to learn why you want the line of defense. Here's the line of defense. Is right here. Your divisions are your line of defense. Because you're going to actually have all your credit come from the top down here. That's one thing that's so important about this whole thing is you've got to understand what you're doing with your divisions. Now, winning the battle, you understand I can make you a great CFO, which means your personal credit. Even your credit is in the doghouse, even if it's in the dung. All right? Corporate credit is a write-off. Credit cards and credit lines of credit. Those are write-offs. So you want to begin to design your life. Let me ask you something. If you just set up your new corporation today, and then when you have your minutes and bylaws, the stock kit was ordered. So when the stock gets here, they'll have their meeting. Now, could you not have a meeting and have a perk package? Can the corporation that maybe you're a founder of, doesn't mean you have to have any stock. All right? But whatever you're the founder of, and you will work for the corporation, you will be under ADP payroll or a payroll company that's independent from your office. I don't care if you say, well, I'm not really making any money. Well, I'm going to tell you what. As soon as you can go ahead and afford to pay yourself $15 an hour for 20 hours a month, that's going to be $300. Get yourself on payroll for $300, and the rest is going to be based on your performance. Get on ADP payroll, absolutely. What I want to make you aware of is this. Could not the corporation hire you to be the CFO, the CEO, or the COO, or the vice president, director, treasurer, secretary? Could it not hire you and then pay you? See, these are the things most of you don't think about. Why would you want to be paid? I'd rather be on payroll because you can tell the truth that I'm employed and I work for them. And I don't have any stock. I don't have any stock. Even though you're a founder doesn't mean you have to have stock. Because you're in the meeting, you say you have no physical access to the stock, but you only have access to the stock for business purposes only, like opening a bank account. You do, and there's certain paperwork that you fill out. Now, with that said, you want to begin to understand is this. Your next thing is why divisions. I already told you about why. Allows you to set up and run a different business type as well as a different location. Different location. You can go ahead and write many things up if you want, and that's totally up to you. But the beautiful thing is that you can start another business and take a chance. One thing you never want to do is business with your company that's building credit. Your company is building business. Your company is building their business credit. You really don't want to do any business with that. You don't want to do any business but build credit and pass and move it around. See, it also allows you to separate liability if something goes wrong. It allows you to have the time to disconnect, isolate, incorporate. Which means this. Let's say one of these little divisions go bad. Let's say one of these divisions go bad. All right, you isolate, you disconnect, and incorporate. What does that all mean? That's how you're going to protect yourself, because each one of these eventually are going to have a tax ID. You are EIN, whatever you guys recognize it as. But a tax ID, now some of you have gotten them when you shouldn't have, but you know what? That's just kind of keep it on the down low for the moment. But you never get anything on the divisions unless you're going to get a bank account to use it because you're going to have to get the loan through there and have the money sent there, that's perfectly fine. So with that said, now what you go ahead and do is you can go ahead and move things around. Now it's simple. If a corporation has multiple properties, if one of your tenants slips and falls, in most cases, it can protect all the other properties. See, everyone keeps telling you, open LLCs. That is the most dumbest thing on the planet. I'll tell any. Now, here's a lot of things you really don't understand. See, under the LLC, remember, debt follows tax ID. Any problem with the tax ID will follow. And on top of that, what happens is that then if it's, let's say you have 2 or 3 properties under that LLC, or they tell you do an LLC under an LLC. Man, that is so dumb, dumb. There's one guy out there, he's cool, he's great at what he does, and he understands about how to go ahead and take, when you actually have when you have capital gains on property, he knows how to move those capital gains. So within the year, the way he does it, which is great, it's all wiped out, so you don't have to pay no more capital gains on that. But it's beautiful how he does it. But I keep telling him, why do you keep telling these people LLCs? You're killing these guys. Because all it costs you is like maybe anywhere from $35 to $160 to go ahead and do a DBA or doing business as, or maybe a trade name, whatever they call it in your state, or a subdivision, whatever they call it. And you don't have to have a tax ID when you're building business. But if you have real estate, let's say each one of these happens to be a house, SS4, and let's say this be SS5 and SS6, because let's say that's the address. Well, each one of them have a different tax ID number for each property. So it costs you, let's say it costs you $65 for each. Now, if anything happens, like slip, fall, in most cases, it protects all the others because you can isolate these. Isolate it from all others and also from the parent. It allows you to build corporate cash and supply credit. That's what's so awesome about this. I mean, here's one thing about it. You would have a business at each one of these locations to build your credit. That's the beautiful thing. That is the beautiful thing. So now the next thing after that you do is this. See, here you only have like 8 personal cards. The kind of big major ones. There's a few more missing here, but this is the kind of big major ones. Here you have corporate cards. So there's a whole different type of thing. There's a whole bunch of different things you can get with this, but you cannot write off your personal credit. Now let me back up to what I was talking about before. Remember I told you right here, I said, how do you win the battle? You can win the battle here because when you actually get hired, because the board says you're hired, and here's, remember, you can be all 4, you can be the president, secretary, treasurer, and director on a corporation. But you still have to hold your meeting. And a lot of people laugh at this. But that's the power of a corporation. Even if you're all 4, you still have to do roll call, hold the meeting, and what I would do, since it's one of you being all 4, I would record the meeting. It doesn't have to be very long either. You guys make it so hard. It's easy. You call roll call. Everyone checks in. It's recorded that you checked in. And on top of that, you do all your voting. You do what you're going to do for the year, certain paperwork you're going to use so you don't have to keep coming to the meeting all the time. And then on top of that, when you get done, all right, so you vote for this. And it's going to, of course, it's going to be unanimous. We understand that because there's only 4 of you. Now what you go ahead and do is now you end the meeting. You do your recording. Now you take it to a professional transcriber, have her certified as transcribed. You take the transcriber notation with the handwritten notice and with a copy of however you do the digital, wherever you're going to save the digital for that meeting, you put it in so they can't accuse you for not holding a meeting thoroughly. That doesn't mean it has to take hours. Just do roll call. Who's going to be the roll caller? You can have the secretary, which is you. All right, the secretary is calling roll call as the president here. You know, Jim Jones. Yes, Jim Jones is here. All right, also calling roll call for the director. Is director here? Jim Jones? Jim Jones is here. Okay, great. Also, I have a meeting. All right, also a roll call for the treasurer. Treasurer here? Yeah, Jay Jones is here. All right, great. Then the secretary, I'm present here. You know, Jay Jones. Okay, great. So you have all the people checked in legally so you can have your meeting. Because eventually you're going to have people, but I'm going to tell you what, one thing you never want to do so you do not lose control of the business is you never want to put a president, secretary, treasurer, or director in. Well, the director, that's cool. But the management team, president, secretary, treasurer, or vice president, CEO, all right, those three major ones that you register with the state should be the same person. So when you have the meeting, you can go ahead and say, okay, we the board duly elect Susie Q to be a CFO. Merrick McMuffin being the COO, Chief Operating Officer, and so on and so on and so on. Because if anything happens, you can remove them without going to the state, which takes you days to move, and they can cause you havoc. Oh, this has been done long in the businesses before. Oh, absolutely. This is the best thing you can do because you bring them in and you get them out. All right. So that's what I mean by you can go ahead and win. You got to understand what that. Now, also another thing is this. Oh, also, now let me back up again because I wanted to tell you is when you get hired by your company, there's a thing called a perk package. Could they not have a perk package saying, okay, great, if you have a student loan, that they're willing to take it on as long as you work for the company, that they'll be willing to pay your student loan on a monthly basis because they don't want that burden on you because they want to make sure you can focus on the business. Now you get to write that off. The business does. Think about, folks. Think about this. Now, what about this? Could they not now say, okay, great. They run your credit report. They say, wow, you know, you're a little debt heavy. There's no bad credit, but you're just like running at 53% of your usage of your personal credit. Could they not now go ahead and pay that off? Well, I'm barely doing a little business making a credit line. But if you have 400, 300, $500,000 worth of credit lines available, whether it be through credit cards, a lot of you will learn the strategies how to use that money. You can pay that off. Now you get to write it off. They're an asset to you, to the corporation, because now they don't have that stress about, okay, great. Now they can focus more on the business because now they don't have to worry about, I got to make those payments. Oh my God, now they're done. The company tells you, shut up and get to work. Now I'm going to work you like a slave child. They're going to work you like a Hebrew slave with no straw. Exactly. So that's what I'm telling you. You've got to understand really how to play the game so the game is a win-win. And that's perfectly fine. And like I said, I'm not here to be your attorney, but go check with your attorney. No, not that one. Go check with your CPA. If you get a good CPA, they'll tell you, yeah, if you can move it, that's part of the perk package. It's part of the perk package. You can have any kind of perk package you want. How about when they lend you money at a minimum of 4%? How about they let you borrow against your future of your income? Borrowed money is not taxable. So that's why we say don't spend money, loan money. A lot of you have money you can begin to start loaning and making some good returns on it, which means returns means you're making more than you're having to just sitting there wondering what you're going to do with it. Or you're able to move it around to where you can, do something, make your whatever you're doing with it, leveraging it. We talked about real estate. Real estate's going to be part of what you want to leverage, and that's one thing we really want to let you know is that You know, those of you out there have been doing really well. You've done really well. Congratulations on the group. They've done very well in the real estate part of it. A lot of them say, well, I just want to go ahead and just let them make the interest payments to me only and leave the principal there, because if anything happens, my principal is safe. And on top of that, they're going to, oh, if it goes, you know, that I can take back the house, keep the house. Here, let me ask you, you realize you can actually take back the house and not even take it to foreclosure? And you can go with them, you can negotiate with these people. Look at, I mean, you can negotiate the note because you're the bank. You're the bank. Then on top of that, if you want to, you could go ahead and just foreclose on them, take the property back, and then guess what? Now you own the note. Now you can go ahead and guess what? You could go ahead and take that note if you want to, even before you go to foreclosure. Take the note, negotiate with the people that are in there and say, look, how much can you afford a month to go ahead and pay? Your payments are $2,000 a month. What can you afford out of that? Man, the most I can really afford without putting myself in jeopardy, again, is $1,800 a month. All right, you structure it so where it's $1,800 a month, and there's things you got to do, and your CPA can do it, and the attorney can take care of the other paperwork for it. So now you get it, and then now you rewrite the whole loan. Then you take it and you get it seasons for 12 months, and then you can take it and sell it on the open market at par. Yeah. See, you got to understand what you can do with this. It's strategy after strategy after strategy. All right. So now, real estate is a thing. Personal loans another thing. Franchising is going to be another thing, and so on and so on and so on. Now, as you begin to go on here, this is where you learn never to bring that pain home. This is why I say, if you're going to start up a corporation, you've got to learn what a perk package is. Can you have a perk package? Are you allowed to have a perk package? What are the things that you can have that will go ahead and let you have what a perk package is? That's important to understand. Check with your CPA. Check with your attorney if you want. Check with your financial advisor, whatever you want to do. I'm not here to be that for you, any of those. I'm only here to be the coach and the consultant for you, for even now, or the ones that hired me to do the personal part of it. Remember this, never underestimate the influence of private money lending. You're the private lender. Now, we have also money to lend people in the group for real estate, or they want to lend it out to other people for real estate. They make money from using our money. Some of you already have the experience, and you said this week, hey, you know what? You came and say, all right, I got some other houses I want to go ahead and lend on. And then you're finally asking for what the criteria is and then lending. So now some of you be doing, you finally understand the power of OPM. The power of OPM. Anyone is ever going to make it, and you've got to understand the power of OPM. In fact, what I mean by this, let me go back to one other thing for you real quick, is right here. We have now some students that are going to be going ahead. The one corporation I set up, there's a couple of students that will be parlaying to this because of what they get back. And they're not even worried about it, because when they parlay the credit cards or even get a brand new credit card for this division, it's awesome, because the fact is, guess what? Now they can parlay that to not only that, but they can move it over as time goes on, and it's just awesome what they can do. In fact, someone even said they wanted to do some credit cards from Bank of America and JCB, the Royal British, and also Chase. And that's cool, because they know the power now, how that happens. Because once this receives this, now this can give it back to not only them, it can give it back to their other division from another corporation, or it could be, if it was a division, doesn't really matter, and move it over. That's the beauty of the whole thing. So now everyone it's just awesome how it works. And on top of that, they're not held liable for it. All right, so that's the beautiful thing. So that's why I want to let you know again, that's really sweet. And when you do that, you still have access to it, because once that corporation gets the card, guess who's going to get a card right after that? That's right, the one who their business, it's just awesome. Anyways, all I'm saying is this: give me 90 days, and that's all I need to get you on your way to $1 million dream, if you're willing to do what it takes. All right, I just want to say, folks, it's good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Also, the other team, we have the meeting at 10 in the morning tomorrow. Remember that. All right, and then from there, we want to go ahead and say, just remember this: that Corporate Credit Blueprints. We do everything we can to make sure that you win the game of business credit without, yeah, the first part always is a challenge. But if you're with somebody else, let me ask you, if you got $300,000 in personal and business credit, I'm going to say from one place, why not duplicate it? There's a way to duplicate it. There's a whole other way to duplicate it. But all right. All right. Well, like I said, differences that matter, that makes building business credit awesome, is give us a call at 885-886-7355. 885-886-7355. One more time. 885-886-7355 or 885-886-7355. We're looking forward to see. Give me a call. Let's just chat a little bit. Let's just chew it up and see what there is for you. All right, folks. I want to say good night. Glad to see you, and most of all, have a great evening, and we'll see you on Sunday.